Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin 2, Re-Evolution number 1 from IDW. That's a long ass name. So yeah, this is the sequel to The Last Ronin. And you may be wondering how the hell they're doing a sequel to The Last Ronin when The Last Ronin is dead. Well, they're just basically using the same universe but continuing on with the next generation of turtles. So yeah, this is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series without the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Or I should say, without the OG turtles. None of them appear. I mean, you get briefly a little bit of them in a flashback, but that's about it. This story is about the next generation of turtles. So yeah, I will say that the cover art's pretty cool. However, speaking of the new generation of turtles, I'm not sure how I really feel about the design. I feel like it's too much. Like the thing about the turtles is that their design is very simple, and sometimes I think simple is best. I feel like this is just too overused. It reminds me very much of like the gritty 90s comics, especially like Rob Liefeld's style where he would just add a bunch of belts to things. That's kind of like what this is. It's just we're adding a bunch of stuff to the turtles. And I mean, we even have turtles where they literally carry every single weapon from the OG. So rather than like one specializing in swords, another one specializing in sai, another specializing in a bow staff, and another one with nunchucks, they each carry a staff, a sai, nunchuck, and a sword. It's almost like there's no like identity in that regard in the fighting style. So yeah, let's just kind of get right into it. So we take place in the future after The Last Ronin ended. So The Last Ronin obviously took place in the future. Everyone died except for Michelangelo. He was the last Ronin, and he was fighting against Shredder's grandson, who was running New York. And in the end of that series, he sacrifices himself to kill him. Casey Marie Jones basically finds 4 baby turtles, and she raises them to be the next generation of turtles. How those 4 turtles turn into mutants, I don't know, but whatever. We ended with them as babies, but now we're flashing to, I don't know, 13 to 17 years later because now they're teenagers. And they're going to be the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so because of Shredder's grandson dying, there's like a power vacuum. And Casey Marie Jones runs the Resistance. And they're trying to like take control of the city, do good. But there's a bunch of like gangs trying to ease on her turf, and now we have just a bunch of gang wars. As for Casey Marie Jones, I don't know if they got a different artist, but I feel like she looks different because she's older, but she doesn't look good here. There are times where she looks okay, and then there are a lot of times where she looks like a dude. It literally looks like they just drew a male body, a male figure, and then slapped some tits on it. It reminds me very much of Michelangelo. Not the Ninja Turtle, but the actual artist, sculptor, painter that Michelangelo is named after. If you ever look at some of his artwork, especially his sculptures, look at his sculptures of women. They're not women if you actually pay attention. It's just he basically sculpted dudes and then he slapped some tits on them. Because to him, like the male figure was the ideal form. So he basically just got male models, sculpted them, and then haphazardly slap some tits on them, and there you go. That's your female form when it came to him. And that's kind of how Casey Marie Jones looks in this series at times. It looks like they basically just drew a dude and then slapped some tits on her. Yeah, I mean, sometimes she looks okay, and then other times I feel like I'm looking at a dude. Like, in fact, I was even wondering, like, who is this? Is this actually Casey Marie Jones? Because she doesn't look like Casey Marie Jones at all until they actually call her by her name. But yeah, she's leading her resistance against another gang war. I'm gonna be skipping a lot of stuff, but basically, this is like 2 weeks in a row that they've been fighting off different gangs who keep trying to break into their territory and steal their equipment. Why they're trying to do that, I don't really know. I think if I'm like trying to read between the lines, I think basically after they killed Shredder's grandson, they stole a bunch of his gear and equipment and stuff, which is like very high tech, and now they're trying to use it to do good, and so other gang members are trying to get their hands on it. That's what I'm guessing, but that's just my guess. And then we have the new turtles who have snuck out of their sewer home, and they're now in some building just chilling out. for reasons. I don't know. Or maybe they are home. It's weird because we see them like in this area. I thought they were just at their house. But then they were talking about how they have to get back before Casey finds them. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble. So they sneak out of the house to go to a underground base where they just eat and read magazines. I don't know why they couldn't just do that at home. But this is basically just an excuse for them to exposition dump on us, where they just give us the origins of the Turtles. So we see like the origins of the Foot Clan, of Splinter's master falling in love, moving to New York, being murdered, Splinter seeing that, getting mutated, finding the Turtles, raising them, fighting against the Foot Clan, and then we cut into what happened during the Last Ronin, where they were all killed, and Michelangelo ended up fighting against Shredder's grandson, killing him, and now they're the new generation. Only all they've done at this point in time is they've just trained. They haven't actually gone out and have real combat experience, but they're gonna get it later on, because eventually they sneak back home and they get caught, and Casey and April are basically bantering about what kind of punishment they're going to give the Turtles when they see some like news program. I'm going to be skipping that because it's not really all that important. It's just stuff that I've already talked about like gang wars and things like that. And then Casey gets a phone call that one of their bases is under attack, but they're being under attack in like 2 different locations. So the resistance army that's now defending one of the bases, like they're not able to defend another base. So they call Casey Marie Jones because she's the leader, and they say, "Hey, I need you and your group to go defend this other base because I can't spare the men." And Casey's like, "Well, I can't use my people because we've already been fighting for 2 weeks with no breaks. I can't just have them keep fighting." So then she's like, "Okay, well, I guess I got to use the Turtles. This is going to be their first test." And so yeah, they go out and they fight, and they actually do a pretty decent job, except for one turtle who he gets hit over the head. This is Odin. Odin gets hit over the head, and then he just kind of freezes, and that's the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is that he froze after getting hit. Not very much of a cliffhanger. Like, I would think maybe you would want to end on something more, I don't know, serious. Like, hey, he gets stabbed, or he's about to get stabbed, and then we end on the cliffhanger. But instead, no, he literally gets hit over the head with a stick, and now he's frozen like a statue. And it's like, that's not really much of a cliffhanger. I'm going to just basically guess that the thing is that he froze because it's his first time like really getting hit. Like every other time he's been hit, maybe it was like he knew that it was safe because he's, training against his siblings. Or maybe he's never been hit in the head before. And so this is the first time he's been hit. So he froze. It's not really much of a cliffhanger. It's just kind of like, oh, that's how you're going to end the first issue? Like, okay, whatever. Like, you're ending it on the setup for a gag. My guess is that it's going to be like a little comedic thing where we start off the next issue and it's like, oh, he just froze because he got hit. So yeah, this is kind of disappointing overall. I'll be honest, I don't really care for this new generation of Turtles. They're just not interesting. Like, to me, if you're going to do a Ninja Turtles series, you have to use the OG Ninja Turtles. There's no point in doing Ninja Turtles without the Ninja Turtles, and that's what this is. You can say that these are the new Ninja Turtles, but they're not. They're not the Ninja Turtles. These are just people wearing the skins of their predecessors. They don't have the same charm that the OG Turtles had. In fact, you don't really even you get a little bit of what their personalities kind of are, but not much. And I wish we would get more of that. Instead, like, we seem to focus way too much on Casey Marie Jones and the situation that's going on, like the whole power vacuum and stuff, rather than on the actual Turtles. I would have liked if we focused more on them and we got to see how they actually are. Here's what they're like. Here's what their personalities are. Give them all unique fighting styles, because they don't. They don't have unique fighting styles. They all basically fight the same. I would have liked if they gave us more of them before we saw them in action, so we can actually I don't want to say sympathize with these characters, but so we can actually like go along with these characters. Because right now it's like they're just kind of there, but they're supposed to be the new Turtles. Maybe it's just a bias also because the OG Turtles are like one of my. I mean, Ninja Turtles is one of my favorite franchises of all time. So yeah, it holds a very special place in my heart. So to see them continuing without the OG, it doesn't really feel right. But I could kind of go along with it if you just gave me something to work with. But you really don't. Like I said, like we don't really get much of what these turtles are like. I would have liked to see more of them, more of their personality, more of like how they are. They all kind of just blend together. The only thing that really sets them apart is the fact that they're different colors and shapes and sizes. But other than that, they don't. It's kind of funny because the OG turtles, they all look the same, but you can tell who they are based off their personalities and based off their styles. Styles, not just necessarily their fighting styles, but like the way they act and things like that. Whereas here, everybody fights the same, everybody acts the same, they just look different. So it's kind of like the flip side, where the OG, everyone looks the same, but they're all uniquely different in how they act and fight. Whereas here, everyone fights and acts the same, they're just different in their looks. So yeah, I guess overall I didn't care for this. I don't hate it, but I don't enjoy it either. I don't see why it was made. Well, I guess I can see why it's made. It's because The Last Ronin did really good, and they're trying to bank off of that. But other than that, I don't care. Right now, I'm very apathetic towards this series. Hopefully, that will change by the next issue. But at this point in time, yeah, I honestly don't care. I don't care about these turtles. I don't care about Casey Marie Jones all that much here. I thought she was better in the original Last Ronin run. Here she just, I don't know. I don't hate her, but she's not as interesting as she was before. And I just don't really care about just the story overall. I mean, you could have had something really cool. Like the leader, the dictator of New York got killed, and now there's a power vacuum with all these different criminals trying to take his place. And Casey Marie Jones is trying to fight them all off with her squad, with her resistance. That could be a pretty cool story, but it's just not really hitting me right now. So yeah, I didn't really care for this. There you go. There's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin 2, Re-Evolution, issue number 1 from IDW. It was very meh. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.